The Stig, Episode 11. Oh yeah, give me that Lebanese breakfast. Ooh, I'll walk that German tightrope. Oh, amazing hidden gem. Stig it to me. Cover me in your sticky essence. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, and welcome back to the nonsense that is the Stig. Yes, as I wade through the TIG archives, it gives you an opportunity to understand more about the vacuous nature of Harry's wife, and why her narcissism really doesn't have a lot to work with. It also enables you to contrast what she wrote in the past with what we know about her now, and to draw your appropriate conclusions from that. Without further ado, we have the deep joy of understanding Rachel Zane hair tutorial. Yes, how magnificent. And therefore, there is a picture of Harry's wife as Rachel Zane, and it's now onto the Rachel Zane hair tutorial. For this, you will need the following: Shu Imura, some kind of oil. Use on ends of wet hair. Well, as I've just mentioned in the introduction, Harry's wife is used to being coated in sticky viscous liquids, so using this oil will be second nature to her. Then a Denman paddle brush. Use while blow drying, although of course it may well be turned around and utilised upon Prince Harry's pinky bottom. Paul Mitchell, hot off the press, spray after blow drying. Then use a 2-inch wand or iron to make waves. And that device there looks more like something that would be pushed into the cave of oblivion, but there we are. Next, lait biostatique, volume powder. Sprinkle it on roots, presumably on your head and not in your garden. Then Avida, brilliant universal styling cream, used to break up ends. Then finally, chlorane, dry shampoo and styling cream, for when hair begins to look flat. So those are the essential ingredients of the Rachel Zane hair tutorial. But what words of wisdom has Harry's wife got to share with us? While my hair off camera is generally pulled into a low bun or tousled and flipped from side to side, a frenetic and self-conscious tic I adopted for moments I feel anxious, the on-screen Rachel Zane hair is something that leaves little room for insecurity. Her look is thoughtful and crafted, and thanks to a savvy hair department and creative input from producers, it has become a signature aesthetic with its polished and classic style. Again, this is typical Harry's wife, over-egging the pudding. It's your fucking hair, love. I doubt the producers cared one bit what your hair looked like. Basically, just make it long, will probably have been the instruction. She continues by writing, die-hard Suits fans may have noticed a shift in Rachel's hair this season. Again, this is Harry's wife thinking that any slight change associated with her is immediately picked up upon because so many people are interested in the way that she looks. A change up from the tailored blowout to something a bit less refined. What? Your hair after you've just been shagged again? We knew the storyline had Rachel juggling work and school, and that Rachel's hair would need to reflect this lifestyle shift. How the fuck does your hair reflect juggling work and school? Do you have work hair and school hair? Or is it that you don't have sufficient time to do certain things? But 10 episodes later, Rachel is back, and so is her classic blowout. Below is a play-by-play of what it takes to achieve the styled locks, and the products that have become our standby to make it happen every day. Well, of course, I've already taken you through the products, and if you're still awake, you can now listen to the completely dull routine that's undertaken. Apply Shui Miura Oil Absolu to ends of wet hair. This makes it soft and well moisturized. Section hair into pieces to begin the blow dry with a paddle brush. Resection pieces and spray Paul Mitchell hot off the press spray, thermal protection spray, to protect before flat ironing. We do not flat iron root to end, but rather smooth the hairline and areas that need extra straightening. You don't want to lose the body, especially the crown of the head. With a 2-inch curling iron or wand, curl pieces outward, taking small chunks. Use the wand if you want a messier look, or a curling iron for a polished look. Sprinkle La Biostatique volume powder at the very top of the head to add extra lift and volume. This product is pretty miraculous and keeps you from having to tease your hair, which causes lots of breakage. What? You mean tease your hair by going, nah, 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 you've got no friends. Some extra products used throughout the day. Aveda Brilliant Universal Styling Cream is something used to coat the ends if they're feeling dry, or if we want a piecier look. What? Note, a little goes a very, and that is actually spelt with several R's, long way. Well, you'd know all about making such a little go a very long way, wouldn't you, my dear? Chlorine Dry Shampoo is a perfect boost for my hair when we are shooting for 12 plus hours. Simply tip your head forward, spray at the root, rub it in, and flip your head back hard. Ta-da! And break the nose of the stylist behind you as you do so. Sounds ideal. Well, that was fascinating in the sense that it wasn't. But there must be some more nonsense that we're going to dip into, and I'm sure I'm going to find it very shortly as we move on to another section of this complete dross. And what do we find on this occasion? Well, it's a summer reading list. Well, how about that? And we have a picture of Harry's wife sat by the side of a lane, I'm assuming it's her, sat on a log, reading a book in the countryside, looking as if she's waiting for someone to come and pick her up and pay her money for doing unspeakable things. So now we're going to be told all about the relevant books that she obviously believes that she's read. What do we have here? She reads books as one would breathe air. What, you stick it in your mouth or up your nose? Astonishing. To fill up and live. Annie Dillard hit the nail on the head with that one. Because whether it's to escape, to inform, to inspire, or to just turn off the world while you sit by a pool, I love getting lost in a good book. Well, you certainly don't write them, we know that. When I asked my Suits sister wives, what? Gina Torres and Sarah Rafferty, what literary finds they would be delving into between the scripts we read every week, because basically I can't think of anything myself, so I need to go and ask other people what they're reading and then steal that for my own use. I was tickled by some of their answers. As a matter of fact, when I told Gina I was surprised by one of her rather unexpected picks, her response was classic. Lot of layers under all of this hair. Wow. Well played, Mama G, well played. Here are your TIG approved summer reads from the ladies of Suits, i.e. here are your TIG approved summer reads from Gina and Sarah, which I've acquired by way of character trait acquisition. Harry's wife's picks. The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. I am undone by this book. It's a collection of essays written by Marina Keegan, who graduated magna cum laude from Yale in 2012, had a job lined up at the New Yorker, and tragically died in a car accident just 5 days after graduation. Her stories are raw and real, funny and relatable, and she writes with a fluid conversational tone that makes you feel like you know her. I truly wish I'd been able to get this book. I couldn't put it down. Oh, I see. I truly wish I had been able to get this book. I couldn't put it down. That seems to me that she hasn't read the book, and it's more the blurb that she's taken from somebody else's review of it. As we know from what Tom Bauer told us in Revenge, that when she was doing the TIG, she would spend hours combing the internet for information. And I suspect with many of these things, she's never been there, never tasted them, never made them, never worn them, never read them. And by typical Sense of entitlement, lack of accountability, lack of boundary recognition, and, of course, good old character trait acquisition passes us off as if she knows all about these things by taking other people's descriptions of them. She then moves on to The Dud Avocado by Elaine Dundee. Harry's wife tells us, I always go back to this book for summer reading because it's light and fun, and exactly what I want when I'm laying on a beach. I love opening the pages and finding little flecks of sand from vacations past. So far, nothing about the book, but all about her. I love opening the pages and finding little flecks of sand from vacations past. Or jizz stains, perhaps. It's set in the 1950s, and about an American girl in Paris who lives wildly and fully and runs amok. Runs amok? You mean runs amok? Ha! Runs amok. Yes, I dare say you run amok. Filthy, brazen hussy. The main character, Sally J. Gorse, is everything. A little Carrie Bradshaw, a little Holly Golightly, a lot of likeable, misspelt, one of my faves. Where Do You Go, Bernadette, by Maria Semple. My friend Benita recommended this one to me and Sarah. B is an avid reader and knows that during the summer it's nice to escape with a book that just makes you laugh. Guffaw, even. This is that book. Well, that tells us loads about it. It makes you guffaw, that's it. Notice again how superficial all of this is, how wafer thin, as the waiter would say to Mr. Creosote. But let's move on to Gina's picks. Rita Moreno, a memoir by, funnily enough, Rita Moreno. Because she's a true flesh and blood goddess at whose altar I've worshipped my entire life. Okay. Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. I loved The Shining and loved that Mr. King felt compelled to tell Danny Torrance's story after all these years. Fuel by H.G. Tudor, if only, no. The Hotel on Place Vendôme, Life, Death and Betrayal at the Hotel Ritz in Paris by Tilar J. Mazzio. I love this hotel. I've had fantasies of going back in time, being there when it was all new and exciting. I'm hoping this book will do that. So that's not a review of the book at all. It's basically what I would like to get from the book. So that's not much help to anybody who's contemplating reading it. Now we move on to Sarah's picks. The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. So I'm reading The Goldfinch and likely will be reading it all summer since it's almost 800 pages and I am a slow, lots of W's, reader. It's amazing, today's Great Expectations. So basically all we know from that is it's a large book and she's a slow reader. Great. Oh, and there's an amazing in there, as there always invariably will be. Bittersweet by Miranda Beverly Whitmore. I recently finished this book. A summer page-turner. Kind of Gone Girl-esque. I mentioned it to you, Harry's wife. My friend Molly told me about it, and I happened to not be able to put it down. Again, tells us fuck all about the book. Prayers for the Stolen by Jennifer Clement. About an incredible heroine who is wrapped up in the world of drug cartels in Guerrero, Mexico. Sarah says, I have this book beside waiting for me. And for summer reading with her daughter, also known as the sweetest tradition I can think of, Sarah shares it below. Una and I do summer reading together. We did the abridged versions of Anne of Green Gables and The Secret Garden, and she loved them. We started The Tale of Despereaux last week, and I'm in love with that little romantic mouse. Last summer, Wonder was amazing, and I'd recommend it to kids and adults alike. Why? Why would you recommend it? You don't say. So these are book reviews which basically tell us more about the people reading them than they do about the actual books themselves, which is the usual kind of tripe that we've come to expect from Harry's wife. Vacuous, superficial, and entirely unhelpful. Well, I'm going to end there before I become glazed over with even more contempt for this empty individual. No doubt we'll find more from this laughable excuse of a blog next time. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.